Hello there, and welcome to FlameFlash.net podcast, episode 234. It's been another week. Recording on Sunday night, the 22nd. This is the week of Midnight. So, if you are a World of Warcraft player and you have bought the Epic Edition, it is time because on Thursday you'll be able to go in and play early. That's both exciting and terrifying for me. Um, so I played some World of Warcraft, obviously. Then otherwise, Overwatch is it's back. Um, Eventually, the 4 blog folder is going to have or has more highlights and plays of the game to show off, but that'll come with time. That'll catch up in time. I need to blog some more, but as it is, it's a blast. I am greatly enjoying being back in Overwatch. The 6v6 is glorious. Otherwise, we've played some Helldivers 2, and I have gotten sucked into a mobile game Whiteout Survival via my sister Chaos. So, yeah, gaming wise, I think that's about it in the last week. I'm just going to glance at Steam real fast, but I'm pretty confident that's all I've played. Yep. And maybe some Civ at some point. Last played on the 19th. So, yeah, played a little Civ, barely. Um, I went ice skating tonight with the family. Work club reserved reserved a space and some paid for the skates, and there was a little potluck, and that's the first time I have been on skates since the late 80s. I'm probably going to be very sore in the morning. His dad had taken me out on the ice to try and teach me how to skate. And as I fell, he tried to catch me and fell as well, and then had a concussion. So I barely got to skate. Um, When I went roller skating back in the day, I didn't do a whole lot of it because there was an arcade back then. There was mini arcades in those roller skate rinks as well. So that's where I would gravitate towards rather than actually hitting the rink. I'd skate a little bit, but I wasn't ever very good. Um, and that's both the inline skates and the traditional, 4-wheel variety. But other than that, we'll roll right over to news for the week. The big thing, I think, is going to be the tariffs. Now, everybody's celebrating about the tariffs and the fact that the Supreme Court slapped Trump around and said, hey, those are illegal. But unfortunately, he has other avenues that he can go and use. So it's not necessarily accurate to say that the tariffs were taken down, um, because he's he immediately announced a 15% tariff using a different trade act and is just throwing a super angry hissy fit about the whole thing. Like, tariffs aren't good economically. Reagan knew that, and a lot of our current economic problems can be traced back to Reagan, and I've ranted about this before. So the fact that this doofus in chief, this pedo in chief, is insisting on doing tariffs is just, it doesn't make any sense. Um, Otherwise, literally today, Secret Service agents fatally shot an armed 21-year-old man who breached the perimeter of Mar-a-Lago. Trump was in Washington, D.C. at the time. Sounds like, from initial reports, this was a right-winger kid who was angry about the fact that he voted for Trump, but Trump was refusing to do what he said he was going to do. So this is an extremist being angry that another extremist didn't keep his word about being an extremist about the things that he was supposed to be extreme about instead of other things that he's being extreme about. And that's a mouthful. Um, the other big thing is coming out is just how much money was wasted in Minnesota. Like, if you do the math, the surge cost about 280 million, and it was to detain 40,000 people, of whom 30 were actually accused of violent crimes. The others were here and were following due process and living their lives and trying to improve their lives and following all the appropriate procedures and processes and going through the asylum hearings and going to court. So that means $9 million per capture of the worst of the worst. Big air quotes there. Plus 2 citizens were murdered. And there's been no justice for those 2 citizens. Meanwhile, the pedo in chief says he is going to release files about aliens as another attempted distraction for the Trumpstein files. And similarly, he's also pressing to probably try to go to war with Iran. So again, he's focused outward on um, international matters, which is yet another reason why even his base is getting ticked off with him, because he's just not doing what he said he was going to do. He's off doing other things. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I'm just I'm shaking my head at it. St. Paul is banning face coverings for law enforcement and requiring identifying badges. It's an ordinance that requires officers, including ICE and Customs and Border Protection agents, to work without identity obscuring masks. Now, a similar set of laws happened in California. They got struck down or held up in court. I don't really understand why. I don't see the logic to it. Plainclothes officers are also now kidnapping individuals here in Minnesota. The ICE surge is not over, guys. They're scrambling out from Minneapolis at this point. They're not staying in the Twin Cities. They're going out and harassing the outlying areas. Kind of like what happened to that lady in St. Peter, as that was an observer. I've heard of other towns south, um, Mankato, the sewer. I already mentioned St. Peter. They're they're just spreading out. They're spidering out like bugs from a nest. They're not actually leaving. Like, there's a hotel right on campus at the U of M called The Graduate, and they have contracts to through May for housing these individuals. So it is not over, regardless of what they're saying and how news cycles are moving on, we are still under siege here in Minnesota. It's just moved outward. But with that, and it getting late, I'm going to sign off. The pedo in chief is still there. Formerly the king's brother, that's how we'll say it, because he is no longer prince. He was stripped of his title, and he's been arrested. He should have been arrested for, the crimes involved in the files related to the children, but at least he's been arrested. He was arrested regarding sharing state secrets, and he's being investigated accordingly. So we're on the right track. We're on the right track. It's just a matter of getting them all. And hopefully we will. So with that, I'm just going to remind everybody that my words are my own. Podcast at flameflash.net, or leave a comment in the various places you can, YouTube or the blog. And remember, my friends, freedom and autonomy are the rights of all sentient beings.